Okay, the topic of today, the thing we want to solve is an unhealthy amount of time spent downward focused as a leader. Now, what do I mean by downward focused? Let's just start there. Well, below you is your team, above you is your boss, horizontally to you are your peers, and outside is the market, clients, key partners, etc. How much time do you spend with each of the four? And how much time do you think it should be? Just quickly write that down. My team, my boss, my peers, and the market. Now, if you're the CEO, your boss is the board or the market, Wall Street, right? Wall Street is the board of investors, but you have somebody that you're working for that is quote unquote above you. And you can remove peers perhaps, unless you think of your direct reports as your peers. But look at where you're spending your time and how much is spent looking downward versus the other ways. Now, two, I often see too much time as being spent looking downwards, and that sounds provocative because there is a very valuable and credible philosophy that great leaders need to invest in their teams, and that is true. However, what I'm talking about is a warping of that value in that philosophy, which is turned into the expectation that leaders need to be there for their teams. Great leaders investing in their teams versus needing to be there, nuanced but two completely separate challenges or dynamics, rather. And it can be illustrated in this scenario. I have a chief financial officer who recently said, the amount of time and headspace spent on the priority lists of my direct reports is exhausting. And I asked, why are you investing in the priority lists of your direct reports? Why are you investing time on that? And she said, because I need to make sure that they're working on what's most important. And I said, no, they need to make sure that what they're working on is most important. What you need to make sure of is they're clear on the goals of the business and the goals that you are responsible for. The role that your team plays and the role that they need to play in supporting your individual goals and the organization's goals, and how you want them to go about doing the work, the values by which you want them to think and act and decide. And I asked her, did you hire new employees? Did you create this team because you needed help and support, or because you just wanted to have more people that you wanted to help and support? And of course she said, well, clearly it's the former. So here is the crux of this, the critical reminder that I really need you to absorb. Your job is to support, first and foremost, the person above you. We were all hired to deliver to the person who hired us, the person we report into. For every minute that you're focused down, you can't be focused up. Every role here in the organization is to be solving problems for those above us. And so our orientation should be upward. We're looking at, if anybody's priority list that we're looking at besides our own, we're looking at those of the people above us. And we're saying, I can handle that. I can take that off of your plate. I can support you in the challenging goals that have been set before you and in your role, because I was hired to support you. And I'm going to proactively identify new ways that I can support you and take work off of your plate. The only way that any of us can be doing that is if the people below us are doing that. If the people below us are looking up to us and finding ways to take work off of our plate and to support us. And so this upward orientation of the entire organization and understanding that it is our jobs, first and foremost, to deliver for those above us, rather than the expectation that they should be looking down, making sure that we're successful. That dynamic must be absorbed. That mindset, that perspective must be intentionally absorbed and created in the company. Now, thirdly, what is your responsibility? Does that mean that you can take this intention that we're all focused upwards and supporting the person over there to an unhealthy, warping manner and become an absentee manager? No. Your responsibility is to provide clarity to those below you on, again, the objectives of the organization, the objectives that you've been given, the roles that you need them to play in supporting you to achieve those objectives, the ways in which you want them to work, and context around the macro dynamics that are at play that they may not be aware of, that will help them, that will create credibility and excitement around the work that needs to be done. So provide clarity. 2, meaningful connection. You need to spend time not focusing on the priority list or the tasks of those people below you. And if you have to, outside of inordinate norms or the wrong kinds of norms, there might be a talent issue. If you have to be focused downwards, it's either the norms that have been set or the level of talent you have. But when you do look down, in addition to providing clarity, you want to provide meaningful connection. By what I mean by that is asking them what's most important to you at this point in your career, what's most challenging in your role, understanding the dynamics that they have at play that you might not be seeing, giving them a voice, and taking in information that can help you make decisions about how to optimize the team, and providing inspiration and encouragement. The road that every organization will travel down together is going to be fraught with twists and turns and challenges and road bumps and bandits coming at you from all directions. And the way through that is to remain inspired, excited, encouraged about where you're going ultimately. And so the time spent facing downward should be focused on creating clarity that will then empower and enable those below you to support you appropriately and to support the organization. 2, to connect meaningfully so that you can understand them and they can be a part of influencing the organization, and you can give to them what they truly do need. And thirdly, inspiring and providing encouragement. So the 3 questions I have for you are you spending too much time downward focused? And is it because of norms that were set that need to be reset? And or is it because of the level of talent that you've hired? 2, second question. If you're spending too much time downward focused or in the wrong ways, what is the one thing you can do that will have the highest impact on changing this dynamic? Thirdly, how much time are you spending giving those below them what they really need, which is clarity, meaningful connection, and inspiration and encouragement? Answer these 3 questions now. Take 3 minutes to just write out 1 minute each, answers to those questions. And you will be taking one more step further and becoming a more effective executive. And with that, have a great day.